What if I told you that America's most famous homemaker has been quietly running a garden laboratory so advanced that it makes professional farmers jealous? Martha Stewart's Bedford estate isn't just a beautiful home. It's an agricultural wonderland hiding secrets that will absolutely blow your mind. Let's go inside and see what's really hidden on this incredible property. When we think of Martha Stewart, we usually imagine perfectly arranged table settings or immaculate holiday decorations, but Martha has taken a completely different path in recent years. Instead of settling into a quiet retirement, she's transformed her multi-million-dollar Bedford property into what can only be described as the most advanced experimental garden ever created by a lifestyle icon. This isn't your typical celebrity garden. It's a working agricultural laboratory that showcases cutting-edge technology, sustainable practices, and innovations that would make even the most successful commercial farmers envious. What makes this place truly remarkable is how Martha has transformed it into a living laboratory for sustainable agriculture and self-sufficiency. But here's what'll really surprise you. This garden features a living maze design that transforms gardening into an immersive experience. A network of greenhouses that produce food 365 days a year, and a secret soil recipe that supercharges plant growth. Wait until you hear about the Heirloom seed vault preserving America's agricultural heritage, the revolutionary vertical growing systems, and the heritage fruit orchard with varieties you've never tasted. It's the kind of operation that makes you proud of American agricultural ingenuity, but with surprises that will keep you watching until the very end. Let's explore the most fascinating features of Martha's legendary experimental garden that you can apply to your own backyard today. The Living Maze, Martha's revolutionary garden layout. Martha Stewart's experimental garden isn't your typical rows of vegetables. At the heart of her Bedford property lies something truly remarkable, a living maze of raised beds that transforms gardening into an immersive experience. Unlike traditional garden layouts, Martha's design allows you to walk through pathways surrounded by lush vegetables, herbs, and flowers on all sides. This isn't just for show, it's a brilliant solution to an age-old gardening problem. By creating these pathways, Martha can tend to her plants from all angles without ever stepping on precious soil. The soil stays loose and aerated, never compacted by foot traffic, allowing roots to spread freely and plants to thrive. The living maze concept dates back to medieval European gardens, where elaborate designs served both practical and aesthetic purposes. Martha has modernized this concept, creating a garden that's as beautiful as it is functional. Visitors often describe walking through her garden as a multisensory journey. The fragrance of herbs, the vibrant colors of vegetables, and the gentle rustle of leaves creating an experience that connects you to the land. Want to try this at home? You don't need Martha's acreage. Even a small backyard can incorporate a simple version of this design. Start with just 4 raised beds arranged in a square with a cross-shaped path between them. You'll be amazed at how this simple change transforms both your gardening experience and your harvest. The 4-season greenhouse system that never stops producing. While most home gardeners resign themselves to the limitations of their growing season, Martha Stewart has developed a remarkable system that allows her to harvest fresh produce 365 days a year. The centerpiece of this system is her network of strategically designed greenhouses that work together as a unified growing machine. Martha doesn't just have one greenhouse, she has several, each calibrated for different growing conditions. Her main greenhouse maintains tropical conditions year-round, housing citrus trees and exotic plants that would never survive in New York's climate. Another is dedicated to starting seedlings with specialized heating mats and lighting systems that give plants the perfect head start before being transplanted outdoors. What makes this system truly revolutionary is how Martha has integrated old-world wisdom with modern technology. Her greenhouses use passive solar design principles that date back centuries, combined with state-of-the-art climate control systems. During winter months, when most gardens lie dormant under snow, Martha's greenhouses are bursting with fresh greens, herbs, and even tomatoes. The most impressive part? Martha has designed her greenhouse system to be largely self-sustaining. Rainwater collection systems provide irrigation, while carefully planned compost systems create a closed loop of nutrients. This isn't just gardening, it's a masterclass in agricultural engineering that allows her to enjoy summer's bounty even in the depths of winter. The secret soil recipe that supercharges plant growth. Behind every successful garden is great soil, and Martha Stewart's experimental garden takes soil science to an entirely new level. After decades of experimentation, Martha has developed a proprietary soil blend that produces vegetables of extraordinary size, flavor, and nutritional value. This isn't your typical garden soil. Martha's blend begins with a base of rich organic topsoil, but the magic happens with her carefully calibrated amendments. She incorporates aged horse manure from her own stables, providing slow-release nutrients that feed plants throughout the growing season. To this, she adds a precise mixture of compost created from kitchen scraps, garden waste, and even seaweed collected from nearby shores. What truly sets Martha's soil apart is her use of biochar, a form of charcoal that ancient Amazonian civilizations used to create the famously fertile terra preta soils. This remarkable substance not only improves soil structure, but also creates a permanent home for beneficial microorganisms that form symbiotic relationships with plant roots. The results speak for themselves. Visitors to Martha's garden often comment on the extraordinary vigor of her plants. Tomatoes that grow twice the size of conventional varieties, lettuces with unprecedented flavor complexity, and herbs with essential oil concentrations that professional chefs can detect immediately. Martha's Heirloom Seed Vault, preserving America's agricultural heritage. Hidden beneath Martha Stewart's garden lies something few people know about, a temperature-controlled seed vault containing one of America's most impressive private collections of heirloom seeds. For decades, Martha has been quietly collecting, preserving, and propagating rare vegetable varieties that might otherwise have disappeared forever. This isn't just a hobby, it's a mission to preserve agricultural biodiversity. Many of the varieties in Martha's collection date back to America's early history. There are beans that traveled west with pioneer families, tomatoes brought by Italian immigrants in the early 1900s, and corn varieties cultivated by Native American tribes for centuries before European contact. What makes Martha's approach unique is that these aren't just museum pieces. They're living, working parts of her garden. Each year, she grows out different varieties, selecting the best performers for her specific climate and soil conditions. This continuous process of natural selection has created plants uniquely adapted to thrive in the Northeast, producing exceptional harvests even in challenging weather. The vault itself is a marvel of preservation technology. Seeds are stored in specialized containers that maintain optimal humidity levels, while backup systems ensure that power outages never compromise temperature control. For Martha, this collection represents something deeply personal, a connection to America's agricultural heritage and a commitment to passing these genetic treasures to future generations. The revolutionary vertical growing systems that multiply, harvest space. When you first visit Martha Stewart's experimental garden, your eyes are naturally drawn upward. That's because Martha has mastered the art of vertical gardening, transforming traditional two-dimensional garden beds into three-dimensional growing systems that dramatically increase her harvest from the same footprint. These aren't the simple trellises most gardeners use. Martha has developed sophisticated vertical systems tailored to different plant types. For vining crops like cucumbers and squash, she uses custom-built A-frame structures that allow plants to grow up both sides, effectively doubling the growing space. For indeterminate tomatoes, she employs a modified Florida weave system that supports plants as they grow up to 12 feet tall. Perhaps most impressive are her living walls, vertical structures where lettuces, herbs, and strawberries grow from specialized pockets, creating edible tapestries that are as beautiful as they are productive. These walls incorporate drip irrigation systems that deliver water and nutrients directly to each plant's roots, eliminating waste and ensuring optimal growth. The benefits go beyond space efficiency. By growing vertically, Martha improves air circulation around plants, reducing fungal diseases that plague many gardens. Fruits and vegetables stay cleaner, hanging safely above soil-dwelling pests and pathogens, and harvesting becomes a joy rather than a backbreaking chore, with produce positioned at comfortable picking height. The integrated pest management system that eliminates chemical sprays. Long before organic gardening became mainstream, Martha Stewart was pioneering natural pest control methods that have now evolved into one of the most sophisticated integrated pest management systems in any private garden. What makes her approach revolutionary is that it doesn't just replace chemical solutions with organic ones. It fundamentally rethinks how we approach garden ecology. At the heart of Martha's system is biodiversity. Throughout her garden, you'll find specific plants strategically placed to repel pests or attract beneficial insects. Marigolds border vegetable beds, releasing compounds from their roots that deter nematodes. Nasturtiums serve as trap crops, drawing aphids away from valuable vegetables. And flowering herbs like dill and fennel provide habitat for predatory wasps that control caterpillar populations. Martha also employs physical barriers with remarkable effectiveness. Fine mesh covers protect brassicas from cabbage moths during their egg-laying period. Copper tape creates boundaries that slugs and snails refuse to cross. And specialized collars prevent cutworms from damaging young seedlings. Perhaps most fascinating is Martha's use of timing to avoid pest problems altogether. Through careful record-keeping over decades, she's mapped out precisely when various pests emerge in her region. This allows her to time plantings to avoid peak pest pressure or to harvest crops just before problems typically arise. The cutting-edge irrigation system that slashes water usage. In an age of increasing water scarcity, Martha Stewart's experimental garden showcases a water management system that combines ancient wisdom with space-age technology. The result is a garden that thrives with a fraction of the water typically used in conventional agriculture. The foundation of this system is a network of buried clay pipes, a technique that dates back to ancient Persia. These unglazed clay pipes, called ollas, are buried throughout the garden beds with just their necks exposed. Filled with water, they slowly release moisture directly to plant roots through the porous clay. This targeted irrigation eliminates the water waste of surface watering, where much is lost to evaporation or runs off without reaching roots. Complementing these traditional elements is a high-tech monitoring system. Soil moisture sensors placed throughout the garden continuously transmit data to a central computer, creating a real-time map of soil conditions. This allows Martha's team to deliver precisely the right amount of water exactly where it's needed, when it's needed. The system is further enhanced by extensive rainwater harvesting. Every structure on the property, from greenhouses to garden sheds, is equipped with gutters and downspouts that direct rainfall into a network of underground storage tanks. This captured water, naturally free of chlorine and other chemicals, is ideal for sensitive plants. The 4-season harvest planting system that never leaves beds empty. One of the most striking features of Martha Stewart's experimental garden is that it never rests. While most home gardens sit partially empty during transitions between seasons, Martha has perfected a continuous planting system that ensures every square inch of soil is productive throughout the growing season. This isn't just about succession planting. It's a sophisticated choreography of crops that Martha has refined over decades. As soon as one crop is harvested, another is ready to take its place, often within the same day. The moment spring peas finish producing, heat-loving beans are already germinating in trays, ready to transplant into the same space. What makes this system work is Martha's meticulous planning. Her garden year begins in winter, when she creates detailed planting calendars that account for the days to maturity of each variety, expected harvest windows, and compatibility between crops. These plans are living documents, adjusted based on weather patterns and the performance of previous plantings. Interplanting plays a crucial role in this system. Rather than waiting for one crop to finish before starting another, Martha often plants quick-growing crops like radishes between slower-developing plants like cabbage. By the time the cabbage needs the space, the radishes have already been harvested. The Heritage Fruit Orchard, with varieties you've never tasted. Beyond her vegetable gardens, Martha Stewart maintains one of the most diverse private fruit orchards in America, a living museum of heritage varieties that tells the story of American pomology while producing extraordinary harvests that can't be found in any supermarket. This isn't your typical orchard with a few apple trees. Martha's collection includes over 45 varieties of apples alone, many dating back to the colonial era. There's the Roxbury Russet, America's oldest named apple variety, first grown in Massachusetts in the 1630s. The Esopus Spitzenberg, reportedly Thomas Jefferson's favorite apple, thrives alongside the Blue Pearmain, mentioned in Thoreau's writings. What makes this orchard truly special is Martha's commitment to preserving not just the fruits themselves, but the traditional growing methods that produced them. Many trees are trained in historical forms, espaliers against walls, step-over cordons bordering garden paths, and fan-trained specimens that maximize sun exposure in limited space. The orchard extends beyond apples to include pears, plums, cherries, and even more unusual fruits like quince, medlars, and pawpaws, North America's largest native fruit that tastes like a blend of banana, mango, and vanilla custard. Each has been selected not only for historical significance, but for exceptional flavor profiles that have been largely lost in commercial production. The integrated animal system that creates perfect garden harmony. Martha Stewart's experimental garden includes one of the most elegant examples of integrated animal husbandry you'll find anywhere. Her diverse collection of animals, including heritage breed chickens, Pomeranian geese, and ducks, aren't just kept as pets or for eggs. They're active participants in a sophisticated system that builds soil fertility, manages pests, and creates a balanced ecosystem throughout her property. At the center of this system is a network of mobile animal enclosures that Martha has refined over years of experimentation. These lightweight structures can be moved throughout the garden, allowing different animals to work specific areas when needed, then moving them before they cause damage. It's a modern adaptation of traditional European animal management, updated with materials and design elements that make it practical for today's gardeners. The timing of these movements is carefully orchestrated with garden needs. In fall, chickens are given access to harvested beds where they eagerly devour crop residues and insect pests while scratching organic matter into the soil. In early spring, they prepare planting areas by removing weed seedlings and aerating winter-compacted soil. During growing seasons, geese serve as living weeders in the orchard areas, selectively removing grass and weeds while leaving fruit trees untouched. What makes this system particularly effective is Martha's selection of heritage breeds. Rather than commercial varieties, she keeps animals chosen for specific behavioral traits. Buckeye chickens are exceptional foragers, actively hunting insects throughout the garden. Plymouth Rocks have a gentle scratching behavior that aerates soil without damaging plant roots. Her Pomeranian geese serve as natural guard animals, alerting to predators and protecting other poultry while maintaining grassy areas with their grazing. The ducks play a special role in pest management, particularly for slugs and snails that can devastate young seedlings. Released into garden areas at strategic times, they patrol for these pests while leaving plants untouched. In wet areas, ducks help control mosquito larvae and other water-dwelling pests, turning potential problems into protein. The medicinal herb garden that connects past and present. Tucked away in a sunny corner of Martha Stewart's property is a garden that bridges centuries of healing traditions, a meticulously designed collection of medicinal herbs that serves as both a living pharmacy and a preservation project for plant knowledge that's rapidly disappearing from modern consciousness. This isn't a decorative herb garden, it's organized according to traditional healing systems, with sections dedicated to plants used in Native American medicine, European monastic traditions, and early American folk remedies. Each plant is labeled not only with its botanical name, but with its historical uses and the cultures that relied on it. The design of the garden itself is based on medieval physic gardens, with raised beds arranged in concentric circles representing different body systems. Plants for digestive health form one ring, those for respiratory conditions another, and so on. This arrangement isn't just historically accurate, it creates a powerful educational tool that helps visitors understand how these plants were traditionally used. What makes Martha's medicinal garden truly special is her commitment to growing these plants using methods authentic to their traditional use. Many medicinal compounds in plants develop only under specific growing conditions, the right soil minerals, appropriate stress levels, and proper harvesting times. Martha has researched these factors extensively, ensuring that her herbs develop the same medicinal properties they would have had in traditional healing contexts. The seed starting system that guarantees perfect transplants. While many gardeners struggle with leggy, weak seedlings, Martha Stewart has developed a seed starting system so effective that her transplants are often indistinguishable from mature plants by the time they reach the garden. This system, refined through decades of experimentation, combines precise environmental control with techniques borrowed from commercial growers. At the heart of Martha's approach is her custom-built propagation house, a structure dedicated solely to starting seeds under optimal conditions. Unlike a traditional greenhouse, this space maintains exact temperature and humidity levels tailored to different plant families. Heating mats provide consistent soil temperatures, while specialized LED lighting delivers the precise light spectrum needed for sturdy growth. What truly sets Martha's system apart is her use of soil blocking instead of conventional containers. Using custom molds, she creates compressed blocks of starting medium that encourage air pruning of roots, a process that prevents the circling root patterns common in container-grown plants. When transplanted, these blocks allow for immediate root expansion into surrounding soil, eliminating transplant shock almost entirely. Martha's hardening off protocol, the process of acclimating indoor-grown seedlings to outdoor conditions, is a gradual 3-week transition, exposing plants to increasingly challenging conditions that build cellular strength and stress resistance. The result is transplants that often surpass the growth of direct-seeded plants within weeks of being set in the garden. The Pollinator Paradise that ensures perfect fruit set. While most gardeners understand the importance of pollinators, Martha Stewart has elevated pollinator support to an art form, creating a system that ensures virtually perfect fruit set on every flowering plant in her garden. This isn't just about having a few bee-friendly flowers, it's a comprehensive approach to creating habitat that supports diverse pollinator populations throughout the growing season. Martha's system begins with careful analysis of bloom times across her entire property. She's mapped out when each plant flowers and identified potential gaps. When pollinators might lack food sources, these gaps are filled with specific plants chosen not just for their beauty, but for their nectar and pollen production, ensuring continuous forage from early spring through late fall. What makes this approach particularly effective is Martha's focus on pollinator diversity. While honeybees get much attention, her garden supports over 40 species of native bees, each with different foraging preferences and behaviors. Mason bees, which emerge early in spring, are supported with specialized houses placed near early. Blooming fruit trees, squash bees, which specialize in cucurbit pollination, are encouraged through morning blooming varieties they prefer. Beyond bees, Martha cultivates habitat for butterflies, moths, hummingbirds, and even certain flies that serve as pollinators. Each has specific habitat requirements that she's integrated into her garden design. Butterfly larvae host plants are positioned strategically throughout the property, while hummingbird-friendly flowers are planted in flight corridors that connect different garden areas. The results are measurable. Martha's fruit trees and vegetable plants show pollination rates approaching 100%, far exceeding typical garden averages. This translates directly to increased yields, more uniform fruit development, and improved quality across her entire harvest. The winter vegetable storage system that preserves harvest freshness. Long before refrigeration, our ancestors developed sophisticated methods for storing harvest bounty through winter months. Martha Stewart has not only preserved these traditional techniques, but enhanced them with modern understanding of plant physiology, creating storage systems that keep vegetables fresh for months without energy-intensive refrigeration. The centerpiece of this system is Martha's root cellar, a partially underground structure that maintains temperatures between 32 and 40 degrees Fahrenheit and humidity levels around 90% throughout winter. Unlike basic root cellars, Martha's incorporates separate microclimate zones for different crops. Potatoes thrive in slightly warmer, darker conditions, while apples require cooler temperatures and ethylene gas management to prevent premature ripening of other stored crops. What makes Martha's approach unique is her preparation of vegetables for storage. Each crop receives specific treatment before entering the cellar. Root vegetables like carrots and beets are harvested on cool, dry days, cured briefly to heal any nicks, then layered in dampened sand using a traditional French method called clamping. Cabbage heads are wrapped individually in newspaper after their outer leaves are left intact, significantly extending their storage life. Martha has also revived the almost forgotten art of vegetable banking, a technique where crops like leeks and Brussels sprouts are partially buried in trenches, allowing them to be harvested fresh throughout winter months. This method, once common on European farms, allows these vegetables to remain alive but dormant, preserving their flavor and nutritional value far better than conventional storage. For modern gardeners without root cellars, Martha has adapted these techniques for use in unheated basements, garages, and even specially designed containers that can be buried in the garden. These adaptations make traditional storage methods accessible to today's home gardeners, reducing reliance on energy-intensive refrigeration while connecting us to the seasonal rhythms our ancestors understood so well. The garden documentation system that turns mistakes into mastery. Perhaps the most valuable aspect of Martha Stewart's experimental garden isn't visible to casual visitors. It's her extraordinary system for documenting everything that happens there. For over 3 decades, Martha has maintained what may be the most comprehensive private garden records in America, transforming gardening from an art based on intuition to a science built on data. This isn't just a simple garden journal. Martha's documentation system includes detailed planting records, harvest data, weather observations, pest occurrences, and photographic evidence of plant development throughout each season. Every bed is mapped, every variety tracked, and every intervention, from irrigation to pest management, is recorded with scientific precision. What makes this system truly powerful is how Martha uses this data to improve her garden year after year. By analyzing patterns across multiple seasons, she can identify which varieties consistently perform best in her specific conditions. Weather data correlated with harvest records reveals optimal planting windows far more accurate than generic regional recommendations. And detailed observations of pest cycles allow for precisely timed preventive measures. The technological aspects of this system have evolved over time. What began as handwritten journals has transformed into a sophisticated digital database that allows for complex analysis across years of data. Sensors throughout the garden automatically record soil moisture, temperature, and light levels, creating a comprehensive picture of growing conditions that would be impossible to capture manually. For Martha, this documentation isn't just about improving her own garden, it's about creating a legacy of knowledge that can benefit future generations. By systematically recording what works and what doesn't in her specific location, she's building a hyperlocal guide to successful gardening that grows more valuable with each passing year. The most inspiring aspect of Martha's approach is how she views garden failures, not as disappointments, but as valuable data points. Every plant that struggles, every crop that underperforms, becomes an opportunity to learn and improve. It's this mindset, perhaps more than any specific technique, that defines the experimental nature of her garden and offers the most valuable lesson for home gardeners everywhere. Martha Stewart's experimental garden isn't just a beautiful space. It's a living laboratory where traditional wisdom meets modern innovation. From her living maze design to her sophisticated documentation system, each element represents decades of careful observation and continuous improvement. While we may not have Martha's resources or acreage, the principles behind her garden can transform even the smallest backyard plot into a more productive, sustainable, and joyful space. Which of these experimental features would you most like to try in your own garden? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos exploring America's most extraordinary gardens and the lessons they offer for today's home gardeners.